the global energy crisis that the world has entered into is not because of Iran and Iran's production of oil, or even Iran's domestic politics, or even its support for Shia groups in Lebanon and Yemen and other places, or Iraq, Shia Muslim populations. The cause of the problems in energy is the United States. First, primary and secondary sanctions, and clearly aggression, open aggression, invasion, intervention into Iran, and the support of Israel in Gaza. I mean, this is clearly the cause. And this idea that there's going to be a global narrative campaign, now we can see this starting to happen across all of the Anglo-American and European networks and other networks that are, let's say, conservative supporters of America, A or B, Donald Trump himself, are going to generate this oil crisis, and has been caused by Iran and its nuclear ballistic attacks on, terrorism attacks, etc., etc. Clearly, this is a false narrative. The facts are on widely distributed facts. We know that it's the policies of the United States, and we also know that the United States and Donald Trump is using this to try to unify support domestically behind him. He needs this. But interestingly now, it also shows us the limits of American power. While Trump has said that he doesn't need his allies, and his allies have rejected being involved in the war, secretly, of course, they are supporting and helping him in many ways. For example, the Australians sending the wedge-tail reconnaissance aircraft, with really sophisticated tracking abilities in the air for missiles and so forth and so on. Specifically targeting, I think, is problematic. But also defense, of course, protecting Bahrain is the story. But clearly, Bahrain is very, very small, and I think the wedge-tail has a range of much, much, much greater, 1,000 kilometers or more. So there's a lot of, let's just say, discreet help from all of the allies, even though they're publicly kind of rejecting it, because their publics don't really like this idea. I mean, and we, there's not much point talking about the falsehoods spoken by Donald Trump, because pretty well everything that comes out of his mouth is, I'm not going to say it's a falsehood, but it's definitely misleading, and it's designed always to give him an out, somehow give him an out. One has to be very careful when listening to Trump for what he's really doing, which is usually saying it's not his fault. Anything that goes wrong is not his fault, anything that goes right is his fault, etc. So how he's going to get out of this Iran debacle, I cannot tell you at this time. But it is clear that the narrative is being driven by that it's all Iran's fault, and Iran deserves this punishment, and they've been doing this for 50 years, etc., etc. Clearly this is not true, and at the most fundamental level, how is it that American voters who voted for Donald Trump have the power, because apparently people have the power, how is it that they've all voted for the destruction of other democracies, or other, to break the sovereignty of other countries, every country that America invades? There is no democratic right to do this. It is an inherent contradiction that if you're a democracy, you can declare war on somebody who has not declared war on you, and who is thousands and thousands, 10,000 kilometers away from you, and in no way able to attack you or threaten you, and where the security reports previously given before the invasion, before the intervention, said that there was no threat. So where this is going to go, I think eventually is it's going to show us the weakness of American power, so accelerating the move to multipolarity, and it also tells us that the world has been fragmented. Mostly it's been fragmented by intervention, external intervention by the Americans, not by the Russians or the Iranians or anybody else. China, it's the US. And I think my audience we need to think about this very carefully about supporting America in this. What we need to do, of course, is support the idea that America becomes one of the great poles and coordinates, as it should, with all the other poles, and that includes China, Europe, India, Brazil, Russia, etc. And that they can work together. And this has to be structured somehow either within the existing framework, like the UN, which I think is going to be very difficult, or there's going to have to be a new framework set up. And I think Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney trying to set up a liberal middle power bloc that's going to basically structurally help the American post-World War II order. That's the idea, the liberal order. And that's what they're dedicated to do, even though they say it's to protect themselves against America. At the end of the day, they're still promoting what it is that America promotes. And so that itself is probably not a good thing. So the BRICS is going to become more and more important in this. And I think we're going to talk about that next time.